How do I navigate censorship? Hello, everyone. It's nice to be here. I just want to say first that I'm really happy to be here. And I'm very grateful to Fatin for inviting me. So how do we navigate censorship? So censorship, I think if we define a little bit censorship, it's a big word and it means a lot of things and it means different things in different places. If we're talking about Egypt, because I come from Egypt, Lebanon, but I work as an Egyptian artist, even if I live somewhere else or work in different places, I consider myself really rooted in Egypt. Censorship here exists legally since the 50s. It was established after the second revolution in 52. And it was related to censorship against anything that has to do with the military regime. So since then, artists have navigated this landscape in various ways. And I think what's very exciting for an artist is to work in any environment. It's exciting to work as an artist because there's always something to say, there's always something to respond to. And censorship at the end of the day is something that is not necessarily to be taken literally, but it's also how it kind of infiltrates our minds, our thoughts, our way of living, the conversations we have with each other, and the things that we push and criticize or are able to kind of really challenge. So working with an environment that has such a very particular, very strict limitation and constraint is a very different way of working than working in the US, where you have a different kind of censorship, which, for example, these days has to do with politically correctness and issues around gender and so on and so forth, which doesn't seem to bother us here at all. So it's also about understanding the environment we work in and understanding how to navigate this environment so that you can actually do your work as an artist. So if you confront something that is prohibited, you're bound to end up in jail or to be just literally shut down or even exiled. So it's actually quite difficult and subtle to work around constraints, and working around these constraints forces you to have a language that you have to develop that's going to be a very different language if you are in a different environment. And so for me, to go back to my own practice and to not answer in the name of everybody else, working here has always been about using language. I come from photography and I use a lot of images in my work, and I've developed a kind of visual language that uses references that are very local, but also references that are from other cultures. And I play with mythology, symbolism, archetypes, popular language, popular iconography, and so on. And so I've developed a kind of way of using images that speak to each other and create a kind of dynamic and invite the viewer, I hope, to actually receive a message, even though it's not provocative in a forthcoming kind of way. So I think it's a matter of being subtle about what we do so that we can actually continue to express ourselves. It's very difficult to be censored. I've been censored several times in Sharjah and in Egypt, and it's not constructive, because ultimately what this means is that nobody sees your work. So it's more important to try and say things without being provocative than to be provocative and to end up in a wall, basically. So that's how I've sort of managed it so far.
Thank you.
Oh, you have one.
Soad, حاضر. On my side? Okay, we need to speak closer to the microphone. Is this better?
Okay.
كيف تتعاملين مع الحظر؟
هو سؤال مقسوم لجزئين. الجزء الأول ليه علاقة ليه علاقة بإزاي الفنان يكرييت شغله في ظل بعض الممنوعات اللي هي بتختلف من منطقة لمنطقة. فأنا في رأيي يعني إنه أحيانا، وده بيحصل معايا أنا كمان في شغلي، أحيانا بنبقى الممنوعات دي بتخلينا نتحايل ونكتشف أراضي جديدة. I think إنه أنا شخصيا في شغلي بلاقي نفسي عارفة إنه في مناطق محظورة أنا مثلا، وبتختلف من المرحلة العمرية. أنا بفتكر مثلا أنا مشروع تخرجي كان عاري في قلب إقليم، أنا كنت في فنون جميلة المنيا، فدي كانت حاجة صادمة جدا اللي هو في قلب ودي حاجة كويسة إن أنا بهذه الجرأة في سن صغير ما تخلتش عن هذه الجرأة، بس بدأت أتعامل معها بذكاء أكتر وبوعي أكبر، ومع العلم إن صرامة الحظر أو صرامة الرقابة بتخلي بعض الفنانين يتنازلوا عن بعض أحلامهم ومشاريعهم علشان هذا الصدام. يعني هي قدرات في فنان بيتم وقت مشروعه لأنه ببساطة مش قادر يتعامل مع هذا الحظر. فبالنسبة لي أنا بتعامل بطريقتي، ساعات أكون صادمة أو غالبا بكون صادمة، بس هو ده أنا، يعني هو ده شغلي يعني.
بما إنه you're still معاكي، عايز تزود فكرة ولا أسأل سؤال تاني؟ طيب أيوه.
يعني أنا يعني أنتوا بتحكوا إنه المفروض الواحد يهرب من الشيء اللي بخوف، بس أنا بالنسبة لي وبالنسبة لزملائي كنا نروح عليه. يعني كان يعني حتى لما أنا مثلا يعني انسجنت مرتين، بس أنا السجن هذا عملني مشهور كتير. أنا كانوا يصادروا مني أعمال كتير، كل واحد تتصادر تصير مشهورة كتير. فيعني أنا كنت بدي أنا أروح على المركز الخطر يعني.
بس احنا بنروح على مركز الخطر بذكاء، يعني لأن ساعات مركز الخطر ده بيضيع الفنان خالص، يعني بيروح ما بيرجعش. يعني هي الفكرة ازاي اكون بتعامل مع هذا الخطر وبنفذ مشروعي. ما هو انا في الاخر الذكاء ان انت ما تبقى الصدام اللي هيوقد مشروعك خلاص. وفي فعلا بعض الفنانين بيفقدوا مشاريع مهمة جدا، بس هي ازاي انت بتختار الجاليري، بتختار التوقيت. مش المسألة ان انا بطلت اعمل ده، انا بعمله وهظل اعمله لان ده مشروعي من وانا صغيرة. لكن الطريقة اللي بيصاغ بيها مشروعك والطريقة اللي انت بتقدم بيها مشروعك، لانه ببساطة احنا بنخسر مشاريع مهمة لأسباب ملهاش علاقة بالفن ولا بالفنان، ليها علاقة بالرقابة.
كتير عنا وجهتين نظر مختلفين، اللي تاخدوا اللي بتحبوا تاخدوه، بس حنسأل اوكي يلا last لأنه we have other things to discuss than censorship.
Censorship is important. Maybe that's the subject of the panel. No, I just want to say a little bit between the two answers and my answer that it's not about self-censorship is a very important type of censorship. So of course you have to constantly it's very important that we as artists constantly question ourselves. When am I censoring myself? But I think what's really, really difficult, but also very exciting about doing work in situations like we are in today in our region is to navigate the censorship in a way that we are pushing the boundaries, but we are not falling off the cliff. So we have to go all the way, and we have to, push as much as we can, but also protect ourselves and make sure that, again, I'll say what I already said, that we are still able to express ourselves. So it's that very fine line. It's almost like walking on a thread in a, between two mountains. So it's a very, it's a constant challenge, and it's a constant. And if we don't do this, then we can go and do decorative art. But so challenge is almost censorship and challenge are exactly why also we are artists in a way. So it's a very important aspect of being creative.